Hi guys, to the right of me I have a Caterham 420R and to the left a TTRS. You may be wondering though, what is so similar about these cars? And I'm going to tell you, the 0 to 60 time. The Caterham will do it in just 3.8 seconds, whereas the Audi is 3.7. Now, two completely different cars, but which one are we going to choose? Now, the Audi TTRS has a 2.5 litre, 5-cylinder, amazing engine. This is really specific for the RSs and it will produce 400 horsepower. But this car weighs over 1.5 tons, so big difference to the Caterham. The Audi has a quattro system, meaning it's all-wheel drive. But as well as that, we have a 7-speed S-tronic dual-clutch transmission, which is why this 0 to 60 time is so super. The 2016 TTRS puts Audi's best engine, the 5-pot, into their sports car, giving it 400 brake horsepower and 354 pound-feet of torque. Mixed with the quattro system and their amazing S-tronic dual-clutch transmission, it can give us a 0 to 60 time of 3.7 seconds. Meanwhile, you have all your creature comforts, including sat-nav, Bluetooth and even heated seats, whilst giving you the ability to unlock ultimate performance just under your right foot. In the Caterham, we have a 2-litre Ford Duratec engine. Now, this is naturally aspirated and will give us 210 horsepower. But this car only weighs 560 kilograms, which is why it shoots off the line. Now, what makes this Caterham so special is the suspension and the setup. It's front engine, but rear-wheel drive. And with DD on rear suspension, it means we can have a lot of fun because this car will handle and stick to the ground like no other. The Caterham comes in from £36,000 from new, but this is the lowest spec. Now, we have the R versions, which you can add £1,000 plus any additional extras. However, the TTRS for a 16 plate second hand is around £38,000. So very, very similar in price. At nearly a third of the weight and half the horsepower, the 203 Nm of torque and 5-speed manual gives the 420R a 0 to 60 time of just 3.8 seconds. Mixed with DD on rear suspension, dry sump, limited slip differential and lightweight flywheel, the R-Pack really does pack a punch. A basic interior filled with carbon fibre and a racing feel adds to the experience of a Caterham. Full of quirks, the 420R just screams outright performance. First off, in the Caterham, because I feel like I don't want to get too used to luxury, I mean, it is what it is inside. You've got so much carbon fibre, a really simple cockpit, but you do feel like you're in a cockpit. You're nice and snug, you're sat fully in the chassis, and everything's just within reach. I mean, it's minimalistic, but I love it. I love it. It gives you that enhanced driver engagement feel. So being the driver's car that Caterham are, we have the 5-speed manual. This suits the 420R perfectly. It's short and it's snappy. And although it may be hard work, it's not technically as quick as an auto or as the S-tronic that's in the TT, but it's a lot more fun. I mean, you're actually engaging, you put your foot on the clutch, you're putting it into gear, you get to rev match, you get to heel toe, and with these little pedals as well, it's just so fun. And that is what the Caterham is. It's a fun car. You can extract 100% of it nearly all the time. Granted, maybe not in the wet, but in the sun on a day like today, we've got fantastic grippy semi-slicks. We've got a great setup for fast cornering rather than the back end going out all over that you'd expect with a rear-wheel drive. You could just put a smile on your face so easily. The handling on a Caterham is just second to none, and the main reason being is it's so surprising. Like you say, we're literally sat almost in a bathtub with a roll cage above us, yet there's none of this aerodynamic grip or downforce. It is all mechanical grip, and that's what I love about it, is they're so surprising and they just shock everyone, and you don't realise how much trust you can put into one of these. In your head, you're like, this thing weighs 600 kilograms, it's just carbon fibre here, there and everything, but you're not afraid to put your foot down. You're not afraid to put your foot down coming out of a corner, because you can feel everything through that steering, you feel everything through your bum, that you can trust, you know when the car is going to react, and it's so instant, I guess, that you can react, whereas more so in the Audi, you've got, even with everything turned completely off, there's still bits trying to computerize, and the car's telling the computer before it tells you, whereas this, it's you in the car, and I don't think you can get more of a driver's connection than you can that. Now the downsides, of course, like with everything, in comparison to the TT, it's not practical. We have a questionable roof when we do have a roof, but on a day like today in the sun, this is, and it just happens to be that an RS has gone right next to me. What are the chances? Yeah, you don't buy a car like that for that. You buy it to flat out, track it, all that side of things. And that's what's great about the Caterham community, is majority of them buy them for track. Whereas sometimes with maybe like the Audis, or to be fair, even the TTRSs, they're bought just for a daily, or they're bought to garage and have a little blast on the weekend, that's it. Whereas this, people do go and extract everything from them because they're built for that and then just put on the road, whereas the TT is built for the road and then sometimes put on for performance. So even driving this for 5 hours, it does start to get very tiring because you're really having to be on it. I mean, that's what's so great about these cars, but in terms of a daily aspect, it can be sometimes where it lets it down. However, Caterham did not build one of these cars to be like, yep, they're going to be driving up and down the M25 to work and back. They built these cars because they want lightness, they want fun, they want thrills, smiles, and just an incredible driving experience. And that is exactly what this 420R is. And it really is that whole debate about where do you cut the compromise.
Now it's time to swap over into comfort into the Audi and see what is the difference and how much of a compromise there is.
So we've now made it into the Audi, and instantly it feels massive, which is a shock because it's only an Audi TT, but there's so much room everywhere and I feel really high up, so this is a strange one. Now let's start up that 5-cylinder. Again, like we say, the Audi is more of a practical car, but is this practical crossed with performance, sacrificing too much performance compared to the Caterham? That's what we're going to try and find out now. So the Audi does have the Quattro system, which means it's all-wheel drive. Now, when we are in comfort mode, it does shift more of the torque to the front. However, the nice feature with this is when you do put it into dynamic or auto, it will shift more of the torque to the rear, so giving you a little bit more of a turn. Obviously, it is nowhere near going to simulate the feeling and rear-wheel drive rawness that the Caterham has. But it does mean that in terms of a practical all-round performance car, you've got everything you need. If it rains, if it snows, if it's a beautiful sunny day, or if you're on track, you've got a mode for everything. So you have that compromise there. Now we do have the S-Tronic 7-speed dual clutch transmission in this, which means automatic. So we do have flappy paddles, which are fantastic when you are really hooning it. It does add a little bit more of an engagement feeling, but again, it's not the same as clutch down into gear. And the brakes for these are fantastic. It does weigh about 1.5 tons, but we do have 8-pot front brakes, which means the stopping in this is just... Now I don't know for track, because these are obviously not built for the track as such. They are a road car that's had track slightly in mind, so I don't know how long the brakes would last on a track, but on the road they do stop a little bit better than the Caterham. Now in terms of power delivery, this has 450 brake horsepower at the moment because it does have the stage 1, but even stock it has so much power. It delivers it so quickly because of the Quattro, because of the gearbox, everything just contributes to this instant delivery. Now the trouble is, on British roads we're limited to 60 mph, 70 if we're lucky on the motorway, but this gets there so quickly. And not only that, because the Caterham does as well, but it wants to keep going for a lot longer. The top speed of this is over 170 miles an hour compared to 130 on the Caterham. So this just wants to keep giving and giving and giving and giving, and it's all about that straight line performance. That's where sometimes on the corners, it just doesn't have the feedback that the Caterham has. It sounds a little bit like I'm slating the Audi off, and that is not what I'm doing at all. We have all the positives, like all the tech, the comfort, the noise, the roof, for one. And this is a car that you can really just enjoy your drive. You can go on a long journey, you can take it away on holiday, fit a couple of suitcases in the back, and just relax. But if you do want to put your foot down, overtake, make those pops and bangs, it has that capability there. And that's what this video has been about, is the difference between a real raw performance car and what is a compromise. Now this is just on standard road tyres, so the grip, it does kind of push out a little bit, whereas the Caterham kind of hunkers down. But I reckon if we get one of these on some semi-slicks, get the suspension set up right, there's a lot more potential to be unlocked in this. And I think that's what we've got to remember with the Audi, if we're sort of comparing them on driving styles and everything like that, as in top performance, not just road. The Audi hasn't been made for that. It's been made for a top road performance that can go on track and do a good thing as well. So imagine getting one of these into a workshop and doing everything you can to make it that top performance, and then see the difference. I still think the Caterham will come out in terms of fun and thrills, but I don't think this will be as far behind. But don't get me wrong, you can still have a lot of fun with this. The launch control alone is absolutely incredible. Turn the traction control off, stick it into the manual mode, have as much control as you can over this car, and then you'll see a little bit of a difference. And with that, you can really have a hoon with it. But to put it into perspective, you head out onto a track, and the Caterhams, the Radicals, the Aerial Atoms will always be all over everybody else, regardless what higher powered Porsche you've got, regardless what Ferrari you've got. It is just an incredible thing to see these little tubs just absolutely annihilating everything else. So yeah, I think the easiest way to win it is have a Caterham for the track and the TTRS for the road. I think that's the way to stay happy. So to conclude, these cars are impossible to decide between overall. The Caterham will make a fantastic track car, whilst the Audi does give you that bit of performance whilst having a lot more comfort. So I think my decision is to take both. But you guys know the drill. To make my journey your journey, like, follow, subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Bye!